What's up? Happy Wednesday and welcome in. It's the Vikings Squad Show back on the air, streaming on the Locked On Vikings YouTube channel, Locked On Sports Minnesota YouTube channel. You find our audio in the Locked On Vikings podcast feed. It's Ron Johnson. It's Julia Daniels. It's our Care 11 show. I think we get Reggie Wilson back pretty soon. And I'm Sam Ekstrom. So glad you've joined us today, talking Vikings for the next 45 minutes or so, including KOC with the latest press conference. How are we feeling about the 1-2 punch with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason? We do our bubble trouble segment, roster bubble player focus, plus what's the range of victories for the Minnesota Vikings this year? All of that before the show is done. And it's a show that today is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. I told you who's on the show. Let's see what they want to talk about today. Let's whip it around the horn. Ron, give me something.
Ron Johnson, former Gophers and NFL wide receiver. And I want to talk about why we just have to make sure J.J. McCarthy stays upright.
I'm Julia Daniels, Care 11 sports reporter. Day 2 of padded practice today. Excited to see how things go. I heard going off what Ron said, J.J. McCarthy had a hard time with that on Monday. So we'll see how things adjust today. Today actually will probably tell us more than Monday does.
I heard some reports that it was a shaky, at least yesterday, for J.J. McCarthy. But that's why the two of you are here, because you've been out at camp. You can see I don't have the camp tan. I don't have the camp tan going on. Julia's got the camp tan, so I know you've been out at camp. I know Ron's been out at camps, baking in the Egan sun. So Julia, what have you heard or observed so far at TCO Performance Center?
Oddly enough, it's been, since I've been out there, fairly uneventful in a good way, right? Like nothing has gone horribly wrong, right? Obviously on Friday, this is an interesting scenario we find ourselves in because for those that don't know, our station blew up on Tuesday of last week. And so we were doing shows from everywhere except for the station, right? And so we have to pre-record things for that because we don't have a master control in the building anymore. It's a whole technical problem. So we're recording things. On Friday, we were not supposed to get Wes Phillips until after practice, which is what happened. So we thought, we're not going to have any – we have a 4 p.m. show on Care 11. We're not going to have any problems just going ahead and – I don't know if you guys can hear that, but my cat's digging around in something in my sink. So we were like, we'll go ahead and record our 4 p.m. hit, talk about a little bit of practice today, get it done early – so that we can move on and work on the 5 o'clock hit. When we get a text about 5 minutes after we finish recording our hit that Kevin O'Connell's actually coming to the podium right now to talk about Justin Jefferson, which is always, it's always an ominous feeling when you have an impromptu presser from Kevin O'Connell for an update on a player. So we were like, okay, great, let's pivot. All of that work for nothing. And then you find out that he has very mild hamstring strain in his left leg, which has not been a big deal. But Justin Jefferson, and I think we've talked about this before, but we're seeing it more so now that he has this left hamstring strain. Just his presence out there, he's not like sitting inside whenever he's doing his rehab at a different time, right? But practice is happening, and I feel like in years past, which is totally normal and not bad at all, that he just wouldn't be out there. If he wasn't practicing, he wouldn't be out there. But he's still out there because he thinks it's important to help his receiving core, be there for his quarterback who's learning this offense, and just be a presence on the field. And so I find that respectful, but also I find it just interesting how much more involved he's making himself in this team than he ever has before, despite not being able to practice right now. And so I think that's something that's interesting. I don't think you would see that out of a lot of players across the entire league, that they would be out there. And it wasn't just because the fans were there either. He wasn't particularly involved with the fans at all. He just, felt like, I think he feels obligated to be a part of this because he carries the responsibility for success offensively. So I find that interesting.
Yeah, he's a tone setter. He likes to practice. He likes to be out there. He's a team guy. He absolutely knows how to carry himself as a superstar and like galvanize people. And Ron, obviously I want your camp observations as well, but just regarding Jefferson, how vital is the QB1 Justin Jefferson connection? Like, when you're as good as Justin Jefferson is, do you need chemistry, with a quarterback? Do you need a lot of reps under your belt, or is that maybe overblown? When you're Justin Jefferson, do you not need to have so much repetition with JJ McCarthy? What do you think is important?
No, you definitely do. I mean, it's not end all be all. Let's be for real. Like, it's Justin Jefferson. We've seen him with Josh Dobbs. We've seen him. But, I mean, there is something to it. There's a reason Peyton Manning did what he did every morning. There's a reason why Tom Brady, I don't know if you still saw the Wes Welker interview where Wes Welker said, I forgot what year, 3 or 4 years into his career, he was always on the bubble of getting cut. And one year he's like, screw this. I'm going to just go find Tom Brady. And not to hang out with Tom Brady. He just flew to L.A. and was there. So if Tom went to the beach, Julian was there. If Tom went to dinner, Julian was there. Not hanging out with Tom, just there, just in case. If at like 2 a.m, Tom Brady's like, hey, man, let's go throw. And he's like, yep, I'm here. Let's go. And that it worked out. Like, he started being around Tom. He started throwing with Tom. They said like one time, like Tom was just out to lunch and Julian Edelman was just out. And he's like, hey, let's go throw. And he's like, all right, I'll be there in 20 minutes. Like that's where that matters. That relationship matters. That understanding the footwork, the timing, where the ball's going to come out, how the ball spins. Like, and I get Justin has had time with them this offseason. Let's not forget that. But training camp is a different beast. This week with the Patriots is a different beast. You get live bullets. You get guys standing up in your face. You get offensive linemen backing your waist and your at your feet. All that stuff. So Justin Jefferson knows if this is the call, 5-step drop, I got to come back. I know it's going to be here. I got to dig. I know it's going to be here. If I got a defender here and a defender here, I know JJ's going to put it here. All that little stuff does matter a lot. But again, it's still Justin Jefferson. Could he get through it in the first couple of weeks? I think so. Like whenever he comes back, I think he'll be fine. It's going to take time for them to become, Peaches and Herb, like it's going to take time for them to become this great duo. I was going to say Ike and Tina, but that was a bad one. But when you think about duos, like it's going to take time. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, what people forget is they've been together since college. So that's why people are like, oh man, look how good he came out as rookie. They knew each other already. It wasn't like a hard rookie season for him. It was like, yeah, this is my guy. Like I know him. And so Justin Jefferson now, 5th, 6th quarterback he's had to learn. So it is a little bit of a work, and it sucks that he has the minor hamstring injury. But I think, with Kevin O'Connell and JJ McCarthy a little bit last year too, I hope that carries over. But yeah, it's there's gonna be growing pains. There's gonna be growing pains. I mean, you watch Jalen Naylor, you watch Jordan Addison, throwing the ball becomes familiarity. When the heat's coming, who are you familiar with? He's familiar with Jordan Addison and Jalen Naylor. And that's where I think, you'd be an idiot not to throw Justin Jefferson, but let's watch what that looks like early on.
Yeah. I think we saw it last year with Darnold and Hawkinson not necessarily having that chemistry because they didn't get any offseason together. They didn't really get to throw to each other until, week 8? So I think it does matter to some extent. Pivoting quickly, Ron, you were at the practice Monday, I know. Mm-hmm. I don't know, Julie, I'm not sure if you were there or not, but nope. KOC talked a lot about the defensive line based on what we heard about on Monday with the defensive line dominating. The defense was getting after JJ McCarthy, and he was just heaping praises on B-Flow's defense, including that defensive line, Jonathan Allen, Harrison Phillips, Javon Hargrave. He said Jonathan Grenard looks like he's got even more juice this year than he did last year when he was a Pro Bowler. So that defensive line and that front seven are on getting a ton of flowers from the head coach. Did you see with your eyes that defensive line looking pretty good on Monday?
Yeah, and even if you count the linebackers in that, like I told you about that, like, what's his name? Dallas Turner, and his, one-on-one reps. But again, the defense is just attacking. It's like throwing blood in the water to a shark. Go after it. The offensive line has to react. And so until there's actual things they have to react to, until there's actual things where like full go and, hey, you got to stop the run as well as the pass, of course, in past periods, the defensive line is going to look great. They don't have to worry about the run. They're just pinning their ears back and showing their best move. It's like a little kid coming downstairs when mom has friends over. And you want to show your new Michael Jackson move that you just learned. It's no thought process to it. But with the minute they have to worry about Jordan Mason, they have to worry about CJ Ham, they have to worry about Aaron Jones. Play action actually is not just play action. I could have run the ball here. I could throw a screen here. It's going to change a little bit, But yeah, early on, it's just get work. Like the offensive line, get worked. Like figure it out, hold them, push them down. But the minute they go to run periods, I guarantee, and that's going to be, I don't know at what point, because I asked CJ Ham this question. I was like, man, when do y'all start really just doing – like, do you have to wait a couple of days? He's like, nah, man, they can kind of do whatever they want right now. Like KLC is going to take his time, but he's like, we'll eventually have to do, maybe not this week, but next week for sure. The Monday night scrimmage, we're going to have to do some full go, like, running back into the hole against a linebacker, fits to make sure, hey, these are still a violent sport. Like in practice back in the day, it was full go violence. They've changed it a little bit, but CJ Ham's like, look, we're going to get to that at some point, and then that's when the offensive line gets help. That's when the offensive line is like, look, it's not just the pass now. You got to try to stop the run. And I think that's going to change it a little bit. But in those pass periods, yes, the defensive line looked ridiculous. Like, Jonathan Allen, I said this. Like, I don't know if it's the Alabama headband or what, but he just looks different. You know what I mean? When you see him get in the stands, when you see him, oh, Lord, here we go. So yeah. It makes you look different too, Julia.
Julia's got the Bama sweater.
It makes you look way scarier with the Alabama sweatshirt on.
That's
right. But I mean, it's just a different mindset. Like when you see him and Hargrave together with Phillips, it's like, man, this is a legit defensive line. And then you see, Van Ginkel walk up. Then you see Grenard walk up. You see, Blake Cashman walk up in the hole. It's like, okay, I see what Brian Flores is cooking. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna be scary hours in these first couple of like games until teams figure out, okay, this is what we can do to Jonathan Allen. This is what we can do to Hargrave. This is how maybe we can defend this Van Ginkel move. But early on, again, Flores has all the keys that he needed. Now he's just got to, lock some of these doors and make sure that, like the run game, because the pass game, I think, is going to be dangerous. We know that. But it's always that run game with Flores' defense because there's so many holes of guys like jumping places, running places. Can you stop the run? That's what I want to see.
Yeah. I think last year it was very much a run-stopping focus defensive line, especially the interior with Jerry Tillery and Jonathan Buller. Those are not pass rushing specialists.
Correct.
These are pass rushing specialists we're talking about this year. And they're going to be getting at it with a different mindset. Julia, any follow-ups just on the development of this defensive line or anything else you heard from KOC yesterday?
I just think we talked to Jonathan Grenard last week, and he had nothing but such high praise for Javon Hargrave. He was like, I just sit there and I watch him, and it's like nothing I've ever seen before. I guess his nickname is Gravedigger, for those that don't know.
Oh, yeah.
And for good reason. So Jonathan Grenard is just, obviously he dotes on his teammates to begin with, but he specifically was like, well, and he talked about Jonathan Allen too. He's like, I just never been on a team with two guys like this before that are together. And so, yeah, I think it's like Flores has upgraded himself to Cadillac when it comes to just what he's driving at this point. I don't think like the offseason, I don't think he could ask for better offseason pickups than what he's got right now, especially when you think about last year and Jerry Tillery and Jonathan Buller. It's like no hate to those guys, but now you have guys like Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen in here, and it's like this is completely different than what they were looking at last season. And so, yeah, I think the Vikings just continuously add to this defense. And Brian Flores, you know what? He's probably pretty comfortable with what he's got right now.
Yeah, I think it was Allen who was saying he'd never been a part of a defense with this many moving parts, and he's played in the league for a long time. Yeah. I think we're sleeping on Hargrave. Hargrave was hurt last year. He missed 14 games. Previous 3 seasons, he was super durable. He played 16, 17, 16. He was healthy all year. He had 7.5 sacks, 11 sacks, 7 sacks. 25.5 sacks over 3 years from the defensive tackle. That's like 8 per year, 9 per year. The guy has explosive potential. Even if you get 6, like when was the last time a Vikings defensive tackle had 6 sacks in the season. I mean, maybe Sharif Floyd, Ron, but I mean, you're going back a long ways. Kevin Williams.
I have to say, yeah, you got to
time.
go back to Kevin Williams probably.
He's kind of a sleeper too when you just look at him out there on the practice field, because he's not quite as tall as some of the other guys are, but he's quick, and so it's interesting just to see him out there. Doing what he does.
No doubt about it. When we get back, we'll switch sides of the ball, talk about the 1-2 punch developing at running back. How would we like to see Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason deployed this season? That's coming up next. Viking Squad Show. It's that fantasy football time of year. This episode's presented by Yahoo Fantasy. Fire up the group chat. Mine's been blowing up. Get your draft board ready. Mine's more of like an auction style. It's like really intense, and it takes like 3 weeks to finish our draft, but it's all good. And then, of course, you plug the lineups into Yahoo Fantasy, and you're set to go. Get ready to overreact with your buddies as fantasy football approaches. So if you're not on Yahoo Fantasy, you're missing out, because it's super easy to use, very smooth interface, and to celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, more ways to win, and that all begins on August 4th, just 5 days from now. Stay tuned and get started by creating or joining a Yahoo Fantasy Football League at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. It's yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. Let's make this fantasy season the best one yet. Viking Squad Show rolling on. Make sure to check out Locked On Vikings with Luke Braun as well, and Locked On Vikings YouTube channel, podcast feed, wherever you find it. It's great content, and we do this Squad Show now Mondays and Thursdays with Arif and Luke, and we do it Wednesdays here with our Care 11 crew. Vikings running back situation. I think KOC said it very early on in camp. It's a 1A, 1B situation. They really have two starting caliber running backs in the backfield, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. The two of you have gotten a really good look at them close up. How do you feel like this workload should be employed this season regarding like when they should be used, where they should be used, how much they should be used? Ron, we'll start with you.
I think it's got to be the 1-2-1-2 type thing. So, 2-1-1-2. So you would go like 1 series or 2 series with Aaron Jones. You get Jordan Mason in. If it's going good, you go him 1 more, and then you go back to Aaron Jones as a 2. You know, so you can kind of basically it's 2-2-2, but you treat it 2-1-2-1, meaning Aaron Jones is going to get 2 series, Mason's going to get 1. 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, but then you have the ability to flip it. And so what basically coaches are looking at is like production and also keeping Aaron Jones healthy. Like Dalvin Cook, that's the one thing Dalvin Cook appreciated when they finally like found a workload to get him to the playoffs. You know, he was always every year he was always beat up towards the end. I think Aaron Jones this late in his career, same thing. Like the goal is at this age, Super Bowl. Get to the deep in the playoffs. You know, Dan Orlovsky just tweeted that, you know, the Vikings with KOC, this front offensive line and defensive line, you know, improvements are in the NFC title game. I think that is true as well. JJ McCarthy, he said JJ McCarthy has to be just a league average quarterback, meaning he doesn't have to be top. He can't be bottom, though. He has to be like 15, 14 in there, which I think he can easily. What does that take from there? You have to be able to run the ball. You know, and that's the one thing I'm hearing a lot of guys say. We got to be able to run the ball. We got to be able to run the ball. Like you have to be able to run the ball in order to have your quarterback not have to throw the ball too much. And I think I think that's the workload. I think you start off with Aaron Jones 2 series, Jordan Mason 1. If Jordan Mason's giving you a lot of production with that 1 series, you switch it up a little bit, and then you start to even it out. And again, it comes down to production. If Jordan Mason feels like the better, you know, option here or red zone option here, you go with Jordan Mason. But I'm pretty sure KOC kind of has that figured out.
Yeah, Julia, in the Green Bay years with Aaron Jones, it seemed like the less work he got, the more efficient he was. And last year, the Vikings threw a lot on him. Career high in rushing attempts. Now, it led to a career high in yards, but it also felt like he really wore down. I think that's why they bring in Jordan Mason, so that they can actually get that efficient version of Aaron Jones out there. And then you're in December, and you have him for 4 quarters. It felt a lot like last year. You didn't have Aaron Jones for all 4 quarters of the game.
No, I mean, the run game's never been a strength of KOC's offense. I do think, obviously, last year was a much bigger improvement than the year before with Alexander Madison. But yeah, I mean, Aaron Jones, this is what everyone makes fun of me for, but he's in the twilight of his career. I think that they have put him in the perfect position. I mean, I think that they put their run game in the perfect position to succeed this year. Having Aaron Jones, because I do think Aaron Jones is still a better running back than Jordan Mason is. Having Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason to back him up. I agree with Ron about the reps. I see people online saying they're going to get equal reps. I don't think that's the case. I think that they're going to have a bigger workload for Aaron Jones just because of who he is and the play that he has. But they've invested so much into the run game this offseason. And so I think they put him in the perfect position to succeed. And I think you're right in saying, like, you can't just do that because, I mean, how old is Aaron Jones? He's 32? Is that right?
Yeah. Maybe 31. Yeah, like probably eligible for Social Security. Hopefully his will is in order.
And I think it throws me off that he's 30. Okay. He's not as old as I thought he was. I think it's the Aaron Jones Sr. in his name that throws me off because his son's name. But I do think he's just at a point. I mean, running backs, that's one of the most brutal positions to play in football to begin with. And that's why they don't have longevity like other positions do. And I just think having Jordan Mason behind him is going to put everybody in a better position. And will he get the stats that he got last year? Probably not, just because the workload is going to be distributed a little bit differently this season. So, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it pans out. I think, we talked to him last week and he was really excited. He told us, he was like, he just felt like he had been put in a better position this season than in seasons past. And when he was asked about, the reps between him and Jordan Mason, he was like, we're not even to that point of like figuring that out yet. But it's something that we'll figure out in the near future. And so I don't know. I'm excited to see how it works out just because we've not seen it in KOC's offense before.
Yeah, I mean, Ron, you'll remember this. Like in the Zimmer era, when running the ball was all the focus, it was pretty satisfying at times when late in the game, they could just wear a defense out and run it 9 out of 10 times on a drive, kill the clock, come up with that big game-clinching scoring drive with prime Dalvin Cook and, an offensive line that was totally geared around run blocking. I think that'd be a cool card to play. I think KOC has always had a pass-first offense, and I'm not suggesting that suddenly it's a run-first offense, but I think that they now have the capability to say we can rely on the ground game with some combination of Jones and Mason, and we can, like the 4-minute drill, right? Like 4 minutes left, we're up by 3, we need 2 first downs. I think they have the capability now to play that card instead of having to rely on JJ McCarthy. What do you think?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, and I go back to PJ Fleck. I hate to say it because we spend a ton of time with him during the season, twice a week. But on the PJ Fleck show, he's always brought this up, and he spent a lot of time around KLC as well. I'm pretty sure you guys heard those stories. But the one thing that PJ Fleck always says is like a balanced offense is not about running the ball 50% of the time. A balanced offense is about understanding what I got to do, and I can balance, meaning I can run or I can pass. And I think that's going to be the key for KLC is, can you run the ball? Because a lot of times, like a 5-yard hitch became an extension of a run. Hey, it's just it's a lateral or horizontal run. Just get it out there quick. Let him now get you 4 to 7 yards. That's the key. You throw a 5-yard route. If he can get you 4 to 7 more yards, that's a first down. We've seen Justin Jefferson do that time and time again. We've seen Jordan Addison do that time and time again. And KLC relied on that. Can you just now hand the ball off to a Jordan Mason to get you 4 yards? That was like the luxury Zim had. That was the luxury of past Vikings teams, with Robert Smith. And then you had Adrian Peterson. Like that was the luxury the Vikings always had. They haven't had that. Dalvin Cook was a running back, but he also was a passing back. And I think that's where people kind of like Zim wore him down. Like Zim did not allow him to like do what he does best, which is get out into the flat, get out and run some routes. It was just run. So yeah, I think being able to have the ability to run the ball in the 4-minute offense and say, hey, we're not going to throw the ball here 3 times and pray that we get a first down. We can get 4 yards on the run, let the clock run. We can get 4 more yards on the run, let the clock run. First down on the next run, boom. And you're forcing that team to use those timeouts. That's when you become a really good team.
And I'm with Julia. I think Aaron Jones probably has the resume, the credibility. He's got the preference of the coaching staff early in the season. But I'm here to say, if Aaron Jones has an injury of some kind, misses a game or two, and Jordan Mason gets a chance to be the number 1, I think there is a very good possibility he doesn't give up that status. I think that Jordan Mason could become the de facto number 1 by season's end if Aaron Jones gets diminished or not 100% in some way. Then Jones becomes your change of pace guy. And that's not all a bad thing either. But Jordan Mason proved with San Francisco last year that he can be a bell cow. He can handle a big workload, still be effective. And I long term, I wouldn't be surprised if this season gets done and the Vikings and they still have them both under contract and they say, hey, Jordan Mason, we're going to give you an extension. You're going to be our back of the future when Aaron Jones is no longer here. He's still young. I think that Jordan Mason could be here a long time, laying the groundwork for a strong running game for years to come. When we come back, it's our recurring segment, Bubble Trouble. Who are we looking at on the Vikings roster bubble as we get into the final days of July at Vikings training camp? Squad Show continues next. This episode brought to you by 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It's time to fuel up. Bring that bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. I'll admit it, I'm a golfer. I was out last Friday with 3 buddies, and the vibes were great. We had people chipping in on the first hole. We had birdies. We had people, hitting trees and getting in bunkers and hitting the 150 stake. The ball was ricocheting everywhere, but the vibes were high. We were on the course, enjoying a beverage. That's what golf is all about. It's about the good times, good people, good flavors, of course. The grape, ginger, lime flavor I'm talking about gives you the best part of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev cart. Go to 5hourenergy.com today. That's the number 5hourenergy.com. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF, all one word, LOCKEDONGOLF, to receive 20% off your order. Offer valid until September 30th, 2 months from today. On one order, cannot be used with other promotions. Code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, that sounds like the best ever. Get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. Rolling on, Viking Squad Show, it's Bubble Trouble. We've been talking about roster bubble players that might be ascending or sinking. Ron, you've got your depth chart in front of you at all times. I know. You don't take that thing out of your hand, do you? You sleep with it under your pillow. You study it at the dinner table. Your kids are talking about their day, talking about softball, and you're studying the 3-deep depth chart. So who you got your eye on right now?
Well, honestly, when you look at – hold on, let me pull it back up. Caught me off guard. It's right there. And shrink it down. Why am I looking at the 2024? Wait. No, 2025, right?
That is the year of our Lord, 2025.
Okay. I'm like, wait, what is well, it says 2024 on here, but it has Max Brosmer on here. So I'm like, that's not right. This is a typo error by ESPN. I need to screenshot this and post this.
Am I worried? Are we worried about Max, Ron? I haven't heard him getting any real QB3 reps. It sounds like
he's not. Yeah. So I can't believe ESPN screwed this up. I need to screenshot this and post it.
I'm not surprised at all that ESPN screwed that up.
Yeah, it says 2024, so it's throwing me off. And I'm like, I knew I wrote down the 2025, but they still have 20.
I was trying to do summer league stuff. And all their summer league stuff was a hot mess. The app is a hot mess.
Yeah, somebody went to sleep with them. I know they just paid a bunch of people a lot of money to come back to their NFL live show. So
they had an article I read the other day that was so bad. Sorry.
But yeah, so it said 2024, and I wrote it down, but that's all Max Brosmer was like. That's Max Brosmer was not on the Vikings in 2024. So this is right. Even though the year is wrong, the team is right. So going off of, because I use theirs and then I use mine. So for me, and we're talking about bubble guys, right? In trouble.
Yep.
So
or,
of course,
someone who's doing really well on the bubble.
So Max, of course, is my bubble guy. Like I like watching Brett Rippon and Sam Howell, which is Kirk Cousins' evil twin. Sam Howell looks just like Kirk Cousins running sometimes. I don't know why, but Brett Rippon and Sam Howell are getting the bulk of the 2s and 3s and 4s work, or 2s and 3s work. Sorry. So Max is gonna have to. I mean, honestly, that first preseason game, we'll see how much time he gets. If it becomes more of a Brett Rippon show, like Sam Howell, you take a quarter. I hope what they do is JJ McCarthy 2 series. Sam, you get the rest of that plus that quarter. Brett Rippon, you get the 3rd. Max Brosman, you get the 4th. I hope that. I don't know if that's going to happen. It could be Sam Howell, you're locked in. You get 2 or 3 more series, and then Brett Rippon and Max Brosman, you're going to split the second half. But yeah, right now Max Brosmer is on the outs. Probably potential cut to practice squad guy if nobody picks him up. Maybe back here with Minnesota with the Gophers, just helping out and like Tanner Morgan did until he gets picked up. From there, I think your guy Sam. The cornerback is doing really well. Yep. I think he's doing really well. The biggest one, is watching him, his footwork. He never looks rushed. When the cornerback doesn't look rushed, meaning he's like panicking because a DB or receiver broke, like it always feels like he's staying kind of connected to the receivers. He's never really like, oh man, did you see that? He just got absolutely killed. Like he looks real comfortable out there. And it could be, and here's the thing, I've always learned this. It could be the lack of superstars in that room. Like he doesn't have a superstar in that room. He doesn't have a Patrick Surtain looking at a Jalen Ramsey, looking at a Mika Fitzpatrick. You know what I mean? It's like you got Byron Murphy, okay, starter, paid money. But then after that, it's a bunch of guys they bought in to try to make this team. So I think for him, Mekhi Blackman, unproven, guy that got hurt. Like I think for that too, it's probably like, man, like I got this. Like I don't need to panic and worry. Like you don't have Deion Sanders on one side with Merton Hanks on the other. Like you don't have that. Like you don't have these superstars on this Vikings defensive corner room. You got Byron Murphy, who's your paid star Pro Bowler. And then after that, you got a bunch of guys you bought in. You got Jeff Okudah, you got Ambry Thomas, you got you got Tavier Thomas at the nickel, you got Mekhi Blackman, you got Nudie McGlovern. So, I think Zamiah is like, man, I can do this. So those are my 2. I go Max Brosmer on offense, and I got Zamiah Vaughn. Max Brosmer being a bubble, Zamiah Vaughn being I think after this preseason, he might jump a couple of these guys. So Nudie better watch out.
Yeah. It feels like Max probably on the outside looking in right now, and maybe Zamiah Vaughn like inside the proverbial cut line. He actually might be in position to make this roster.
Was it Khalif Halisi? Is how you say it?
Yeah, Hilasi.
Hilasi?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He's not. Has he flashed at all?
No, that's what I'm saying. I think Zamiah right now is just quote unquote on the depth chart behind it. But yeah, I think he's going to move ahead of him after this first game. Like after this, who is it? Houston Texans are coming to town. My guy Daniel Jackson, Ariante Ursary. Once those guys come to town. By the way, Sam, now that I know I can do that video thing, I'm definitely going by the Texans locker room to get some footage with those guys before the game. So, but anyway, but that's the biggest thing with Zamiah Vaughn. I think he jumps into the 3s right away after this game. Like he looks, too many people are talking about him, and he's doing well.
Yeah, I love it. Julia, bubble trouble. Who you got?
Wait, so this has to be somebody in trouble in the bubble, or no?
Or in the bubble or out the bubble. They could be coming in the bubble, or they can go out the bubble.
Yeah, which way are they going? On or off the bubble?
So
it can be a good player.
Is it pronounced Tyler Batty?
Yes.
Tyler Batty. What a last name. He's a baddie. I think Tyler Batty can give Bo Richter and Gabe Murphy a run for their money. I think he's. I mean, there's a reason what they gave it. I don't remember how much they when they brought him in, because he's undrafted.
He was like a preferred UDFA. Like they gave him a lot of guarantees. Yeah.
He's still 4th on the depth chart behind Gabe Murphy and Bo Richter, but I think that's just experience-wise. That's the reason. But, incredible at BYU, right? I think that he's had a pretty solid training camp so far. I think that no one's like come out and talked about him really a whole lot, but I think that he's done a pretty good job of just establishing himself just with what he's done out there. because whenever you're preferred, you get like a little bit more guaranteed money, right?
Yeah,
So
yep. $259,000 was guaranteed to him.
Yeah. So I mean, the Vikings kind of have already put it out there that they've got some faith in this guy. They've invested in him a little bit, but yeah, I'm just interested to see how things go. I mean, especially because it's Bo and Gabe that are in front of him on the depth chart. I think that maybe he has a little bit easier hill to climb in terms of other guys maybe in a similar position to him. So he's kind of one that I'm keeping an eye on when it comes to the bubble. I don't know necessarily trouble wise, but I think Ty Chandler just has so much to prove right now. And the Vikings have already shown just through their actions, they're not going to come out and say it, through their actions that they just really don't trust him to be their guy that has a ton of responsibility. I mean, KOC said this a few weeks ago. He said, the main thing we need to see out of Ty is that he's consistent, and they just haven't seen that quite yet out of him. And there's a reason that they, kept bringing Cam Akers back. And also, I mean, not his fault, but Ty's not very big. And so I think that's something that they really look for in a running back is somebody that can pass block. And he's just not somebody that's really great at that anyways. And so I think, I wouldn't necessarily say that Ty's in like bubble trouble. Well, maybe a little bit, but I think he's got a ton to prove here in training camp. And he definitely has a big hill to climb.
Let's talk about Tyler Batty for a second. So you've got your two outside linebackers. You've got Grenard, right, and Van Ginkel. Grenard is 6'3", 260 listed. Van Ginkel 6'4", 240 per the Vikings website. Batty is 6'5" and a half, 275. Like he is a huge outside linebacker and maybe a little bit of a tweener. Like that's the build of someone that could play inside, outside. He's a big dude and he's seasoned. I mean, 5 years at BYU. The BYU kids are always a little older. It seems
he's a year younger than me.
So did he have his mission too? Like so a lot of the BYU kids go on sort of, the mission trip where they come and he might be. So how old is he? 26, 20, 25? 27?
Yeah, because he didn't start his college career until 2020, which is when I graduated.
Yeah, so Batty, what number? I don't know his number. I'm having a hard time finding him. Let's Control F. Tyler Batty's listed at 26 years old. So he's just a huge outside linebacker, and this is why I like Zemiah Vaughn, is because he's just got these insane physical traits. Tyler Batty's not fast. He's not quick like Van Ginkel or Turner. He's not as athletic, but he's super strong. Benches a lot, right? He's big. He can move people around. And maybe it's good to have a skill set like that on your depth chart, someone that can develop and maybe even contribute in some way in his first year. And I think you're right. The guaranteed money gives him a better shot to beat out someone maybe like a Bo Richter, maybe like a Gabe Murphy, who, is a little bit, has been on the team a little bit longer, maybe hasn't broken through the way they want. So I think that's good. I'm going to talk about Rondale Moore quickly before we pause. I think some people overlooked Rondale Moore going into this camp because they fell in love with Ty Felton. They were concerned about Rondale Moore's injury status. By the sounds of it, Rondale Moore is moving great. I think we heard that from one of your interviews, Ron, that Rondale was moving really well out there. He's shown that. Apparently, he got some snaps with the ones with Justin Jefferson out, and he's getting first-team punt return reps, which is another big indicator. I think we're sleeping on Rondale Moore. I just think that the speed he's shown in the league thus far when he's healthy, the yards after catch that he can attain. I mean, we liked Brandon Powell around here for a couple of years. I think this is an improvement on that. I think this is someone who, again, physical traits. What is he really, really good at? He's a top 10% speed guy in the NFL. Just get him the ball somehow, and he can make things happen. That's a really good weapon for a young quarterback to make simple throws and let the receiver make the plays. I think Rondale Moore, if you thought he was on the bubble, if you thought that Ty Felton was going to beat him out, that Lucky Jackson was going to beat him out, that Thayer Thomas was going to beat him out, I think that Rondale Moore is silencing that right now. I think that he's working his way, solidifying himself into this roster, and I like him as possibly a wide receiver 4 for this team, and maybe a wide receiver 3 if Jordan Addison is suspended. When we come back, big picture, What's the Vikings win total range for this season? Low end, high end. We'll get some answers when we come back after a very short pause. Final segment, Vikings squad show rolling on. We got Ron, we got Julia. I'm Sam Ekstrom. All right, win range. Vegas, we've talked about this ad nauseum. 8.5 wins, all they're projecting for the Minnesota Vikings. If I were in Vegas, if I was at the Bellagio, probably melting because it's probably 120 degrees there. If I was at the Bellagio, if I was at the Venetian, at the sports book, I would be hammering that. FanDuel, I'd be hammering that, taking the over. So what is the win range for this team that won 14 games a year ago? What's the low end? What's the high end? Let's start with Ron.
Oh, so this is tough for me, but I think everybody's saying like 8.5 is what Vegas had. Was it 7.5 or 8.5?
8.5.
8.5. I mean, 100%. It's the quarterback. If Kirk Cousins was the quarterback of this roster, healthy Kirk Cousins, not Achilles Kirk Cousins, but healthy Kirk Cousins, it would be at easily like, I think they say 9.5, 10. The problem is to put any team other than the Chiefs, and I'm trying to think who else they would put up there. Maybe the Lions, to give anybody a double. Who like, and maybe there's a different show next week, but I wonder who are the 10-win teams that Vegas has. Like, who's the over/under 10-win teams that Vegas is having people, or 11-win teams? Like, double digits is a scary way to like try to push a team to, because 11 and 12 wins, I mean, is simple depending on your schedule, but I just feel like the Vikings always get that negativity. So on the low end, my low end is what they're saying. My low end is 8 wins. I don't think they go below 8 wins. 8 wins is the low end. The high end, Sam Darnold, it's 14. Like, I think it's 8 and 14. 8 is on the low end, 14's on the high end. They're probably going to come in somewhere in there at 12 wins. Like, I just think and they're going to be in the playoffs. And now J.J. McCarthy has to prove as a sophomore he can get this done.
Double-digit projections that I'm seeing: Ravens 11.5, Bills 11.5, not the Bengals. Lions 10.5, Chiefs. Let's see what the Chiefs are. 11.5. So yeah, the heavyweights. The heavyweights get that respect.
Yeah. Everybody else is like chop suey. Like, what are the Packers at?
Packers. I got it here. Packers 9.5.
Yeah. See? So they're putting the Packers right above, and I'm guessing the Bears are 7.5 or 8.5, just like the Vikings or something like that. Yeah. And then you got the Lions that are probably 9.5 or 10. Are they 9.5 or 10?
Which team?
Lions.
Lions were 10.
Yeah. So they're going Lions, Packers, Vikings, Bears. Like, that's the easy work. That's easy. And it's also the human beings that hammer it. I guarantee if a bunch of Power Trip listeners went and hammered the Vikings for 8.5, Vegas is going to change that right away. They're like, oh, hey, we're too low. Let's go to 9. We got to go to 9. Stop it. Stop taking bets at 8.5. This is too easy. Like, it just takes everybody to get to Vegas this offseason real quick, hammer it, or go over to what is that? Wisconsin. You can jump over to Wisconsin Vikings fans, turn on your FanDuel app, and hammer the 8.5. So yeah, I know I got some fall trips coming up for softball before the season or during the season. So one of those, I forgot which one we're going down there, but yeah, I'm dropping it. I already did my JJ McCarthy comeback player of the year. So
I'm glad you brought up the power trip. We need to talk about this. Did I correctly see, is there an initials game coming up, and are you playing each other?
Yep.
What day?
What, next week, right?
Monday, August 4th.
So Julia, and you're both in studio. Julia and Ron in the initials tournament against one another. Now, my memory's pretty bad.
Julia did good her first one, I heard.
Ron, did you win a round last year?
I won last year and the year before, and then I kept losing in the semis. I can't get out that.
You got to win 3 rounds. And Julia, you obviously got some points because you moved on. You're in it this year. How did you do last year?
I wasn't in it last year.
What?
Was that the year before, or just the first time you played it?
Before.
Just
one time.
Oh yeah, so the first time she played it,
tournament. It was just a game. It was just a one-off game. Okay, I got it. But you did well, didn't you?
Yeah, I got second because I think I got 4 or 5 of them.
Who beat you?
Who did? Hockey.
Yeah.
And hockey's in ours for this too. It's hockey.
Yeah.
I think me,
Is
Julia.
it whoever wins moves on? Is that how that works?
Yep.
The
Or
there's
wild card. Wild card.
Oh, okay.
So I got in it for the wild card last. I won it the first year. Second year I got in it because of the wild card.
I have a secret way of preparing that I'm not sharing with anybody.
I don't do anything. I just let
Julia's
my brain go blank.
Julia's looking around the room right now, and she's just writing down phrases. She's like, picture frame,
Apple
PM,
pie.
cash
I will
register.
say, I watched
DR.
Kevin O'Connell's version, and I was like, dude, come on.
Yeah, they got to make it easy for the coach.
He struggled. Didn't he struggle? I thought he struggled.
No, he didn't make it easy. If that was easy, he's in trouble. It was bad.
Oh, his was hard.
I didn't think that the answers were actually that hard, but he was not getting anything.
No, O'Connell hasn't had much luck. So it's
I'll give
Ron.
him credit. I mean, this guy has to use his brain on a whole other level for other things 24/7. So I'll give him a little bit of a break there. There were some where I was like, even Marnie wasn't getting them. And I was like, guys, come on.
It's always easy when you're listening in the car.
Yeah, when you're at home, there's no pressure.
So it's Ron, Julia, hockey, and then who else? This is important stuff.
Wait,
All right, if you don't know.
I have no idea.
All right, well, we'll figure it out. Listen to the show on Monday, and we'll. I mean, there's a good chance. There's a good chance that one of you will move on to the semifinals. So we may have a representative from this show. Hopefully, both of you. I mean, hopefully we got a wild card and a winner, and then we can keep this going. Yeah. So range. Ron, what was your range? Your range was 8.5 to what?
Brandon
What was your high?
14. My high was 14. I think
Okay.
I think on a high side, 14 wins. On the low side, 8 wins.
Matching last. So 10 to B and who else, Julia?
Oh.
Brandon, they call him 10 to B. I don't know if that's in your lexicon. But
Mike Grimm.
Okay. Grimmer.
And then hockey, Chris.
And hockey. Okay, those are the 5. Monday's initials game.
Grimm is sneaky. Grimm's a sneaky one.
Yeah,
I think Grimm won ours last year, made it to the final.
Dang.
I think the Vikings are a winning team, guaranteed. Like if they are not a 9-win team, something went majorly wrong. JJ McCarthy got hurt. I mean, I think they can withstand a lot too. I mean, I think they've got enough talent and depth where if a couple key players get hurt, I think they can still be fine. I mean, look, Christian Darrisaw got hurt last year and they still won 14 without him. They didn't have TJ Hawkinson for half the year. Still won 14 games. They can withstand a lot. 14's lofty with the schedule they have, but I'm not ruling it out. I think that more realistically, like 12, 13, just accounting for some of the rookie QB, kind of rookie QB growing pains. I'm going to go 9 to 12. Just a little lower ceiling than Ron has, but I also think this could be like a juggernaut. I mean, if JJ McCarthy is average, they're a good team. If he's good, then they're a great team because they've got so much talent on both sides of the ball. So I'm with Ron. I mean, I think it's the 8.5 is so low with the talent on this roster. Julia, any agreement, disagreement?
Yeah, I think people just really underestimate Kevin O'Connell's ability with whoever's quarterback it is. And I don't know why people consistently underestimate what he's able to do with a quarterback, but I give him 10 to 13 is my range. Because also, I'm, being out there, I'm not just watching JJ McCarthy. Sam Howell's had a really decent training camp as well. So if all else falls apart when it comes to the quarterback position with JJ McCarthy, I think Sam Howell's a decent. I mean, everyone's kind of like, who's the backup? Oh, Sam Howell. Oh, but like, let's take into account the factors of when he was a starter for the Commanders. Like that team was a hot mess, right? And I've just seen. I mean, we've been watching him, and sometimes we'll sit there and, if you're not necessarily paying attention, because those that don't know, we're watching from like far away. And then we're like, wow, what was that? And there's been a few times that we're like, oh my God, that was Sam Howell out there making that play. And let's not forget that he does have quite a bit of league experience too. So I think that there's been a team built around the quarterback position because it's so unknown, and they did that on purpose. And so that's why I give them the 10 to 13 range. I think that margin for error, I mean, obviously the quarterback position is the most important position, but when you have a coach like Kevin O'Connell and then you've built a team around that position the way that you have, you've eliminated a lot of issues that aren't the quarterback, responsibility, so that you don't have to worry about those, so that you can hone in on your quarterback situation and figure out what's going on there. So, I give him 10 to 13.
Yeah. I mean, the best analogy I can come up with, most young quarterbacks, first-year quarterbacks, they are handed the keys to the beat-up Honda that's got 200,000 miles on it, and they're asked to steer it down the road. And usually, though, when you first get your license, you're not handed the keys to the Lamborghini. It's kind of what they've done with J.J. McCarthy. They kind of got him the Maserati, the Lamborghini. They got him the sports car. I mean, it is going to be pretty smooth handling for J.J. McCarthy if he just keeps it on the road. So I'm really optimistic about this team's upside. I think they've got a high floor, got a high ceiling. Expectations are scary, but this team is so equipped to handle it. Ron, Julia, thank you so much. As usual, hear them on the Initials game on Monday. We will get the play-by-play on Wednesday of what happened.
I just want to get one. As long as I get one, I'm good. I just don't want to get shut out. That's it.
I want 8.
That would be sweet. I'm going to. Should I? No, I shouldn't. I shouldn't even hint at any collusion or cheating. I was going to say, should I text you guys the answers? No. Wouldn't dream of that. Corey Cove, don't come at me. I'm not saying I'm going to do that. All right. Good show. Viking Squad show. Locked on Vikings podcast feed, Locked on Vikings YouTube channel, and Locked on Sports Minnesota as well. We'll have more training camp reports coming up as the weeks go on. You're in the Viking Squad show. See ya.